Oh, this is wonderful. And we also have Sherry from Male Breast Cancer Global Alliance. So between the three of us, actually the four of us, we are working together to really raise the much needed awareness for male breast cancer. I'm honored to be working with you gentlemen. I think it's incredible what you both have done with your journey, and I'd love to introduce and let the audience know a little bit more about you. So let's swing all the way over to Australia, which is amazing. Hi Rod, tell us a little bit about you and then we'll dive into some questions.
Okay. Well, just 9 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
I have a problem with your sound, Rod.
Yeah, a little problem with your sound.
Wait on the sound. Where's the sound?
We'll start with you, Harvey, while maybe that's okay.
No problem. What was the initial question?
The question was just a little bit about you and a little introduction about yourself and you're a survivor like many of us.
So, I'm Harvey Singer. I am 69 years old today. Today is my birthday, so I'm happy to be here.
Oh, happy birthday! We forgot to mention that. Happy birthday,
No
Harvey.
I was diagnosed in 2008 with stage 1 male breast cancer. I was diagnosed 2 years later with stage 1 prostate cancer. Something Rod and I have in common. I am a BRCA2 mutation carrier, which causes both cancers. In 2010, my sister Nikki and I decided we had to do something about the male breast cancer because going through the process was very emasculating and difficult as a guy going through a woman's disease. And we started the His Breast Cancer Awareness Foundation in 2010 to see if we could help other guys navigate the system and just bring awareness to the fact that men do get breast cancer and do die from it at 4 times the rate of females. The mortality rate is about 4.5 times higher. So I've spent the last 13 years in this breast cancer world, helping to change some of the things. I know Rod has done some of the same things. We all work for the same cause, which is to take male breast cancer away from the shadows and bring it out to the front where people can understand it. Guys don't know they can get it. I can't tell you how many medical personnel and clinicians I've met that were surprised when they look at my chart and they go, "Oh, you had breast cancer. I didn't know men could get breast cancer." So the world had to change, and we're doing our part to help change that. And we work very hard at it. And it's, I always say I have 2 full-time jobs, one that pays me and one that rewards me. And working as one of the founders of His Breast Cancer Awareness rewards me every day when I have to help some other guy navigate the system and hopefully help save a life here and there.
That's just music to my ears, just what you said. I mean, really, what we're doing here is, from the heart, the passion of making sure that nobody faces this alone. They're educated and they are informed and connected, correct? So especially for you guys. I mean, my heart really goes out to the gentleman. That's why, every angle of this disease is so important, but for you guys to do what you do and raise the much needed awareness for men is so beautiful and important. And I just, from my heart, want to just say thank you. And I'm honored to be working with all of you and Sherry, because I want to make sure we continue to do this, because that one gentleman that you hit that one day, right? That's why.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, somebody comes across our paths, and Rod probably can confirm this too, that they'll just come up to you and go, you've helped change my life. You helped me save my life, or you just helped me get through this, and I didn't think I would ever be able to get through it. And that's why we do it. That's why we do it. Just for that one person every once in a while. We know we're affecting a lot of people, but the one person that actually tells you to your face and says that, it just kind of melts you, because now you know why we do what we do.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And Rod, let's see if your sound is a little bit.
Yeah. How's that? Good?
That's much better. I might be echoing, guys. Am I echoing at all?
Not for me.
No, that's fine.
Okay. All right, Rod from Australia. Before you dive in, I just want to say my mission is to go global. And so when Rod and I met, actually it was 1.5 years ago, and I interviewed him, and the willingness in Australia to work with us is wonderful. And I really appreciate it, Rod. I mean, and your consistent efforts on social and you know, just your support with me means so much. So, and what you're doing for men globally is just so powerful. So we'd all love to hear a little bit more about you and what you do every day to help us all.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Cynthia. That's very, very nice of you to say. But there's just a couple of quick things before I tell you more about me. First of all, yes, Harvey and I both have 2 cancers. We have the most popular cancers around. So I don't know if we're starting up a branch of Cancers Are Us or what. But if you're a man with breast cancer, it's quite likely that you will get prostate cancer or, heaven forbid, pancreatic cancer or one of the nasty ones. So, you know, we're here working on multiple fronts. The other thing that Harvey didn't quite mention, he said we look for people. Men stay hidden with this disease. There's a stigma attached to it, and I'm sure Harvey will back me up on this. Men are embarrassed because the message isn't out there from the charities. It's not out there enough that we can get breast cancer. And when you get the diagnosis, as Harvey says, people go, oh, OMG, or whatever, or WTF. But once you've accepted it, there's really good help around. There's very amazing lot of people out there, and when you consider that we're a different gender, we're treated pretty much the same, and that may change as there's more research. But we're very fortunate in that we do have generally we have very good treatments. I'm very impressed with the way I was treated. I hope Harvey is too. But so it was 9 years ago I was diagnosed stage 3B. So then I had the trimodal treatment, which is basically, it was neoadjuvant as well. So chemo, had surgery, and then I had radiation treatment, and 9 years now on tamoxifen. But, you know, I haven't relapsed. I'm very happy with about all that. And I just like to, as Harvey does, get out there, and it is rewarding. And Cynthia, you know this too, it is rewarding when you make a connection with people, and we're fortunate to be doing it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I honestly, to grab someone's hand, that's what I needed, and even more so for you guys. I can't even imagine, you know, gentlemen that are, you know, they just don't think it can happen to them. And by working with you, both of you, as well as Sherry, it's so important that we, you know, I love what you said. We're rare, but we're there. And if you have breast tissue, you can get breast cancer. So it's a cancer, right?
Yep, it's a cancer. It's a good one.
Well, I think for you, Rod, I'd love to hear, because this will be, I'm going to, you know, take all of this and really get it out there, is the symptoms for both of you, because I myself never did a self-breast check. I can't imagine for you guys, like, how did you find out?
Let Harvey go first. How did you find out, Harvey?
So my sister, who's my partner in the foundation, Vicky, was diagnosed at 37 years old. She and my mom were diagnosed a month apart. After her 3rd diagnosis, she had genetic testing. And after her genetic testing came back with a BRCA2 mutation, she called me and she said, well, I got to tell you this, I'm carrying this BRCA mutation. You're 50-50 to carry the same mutation. And I said, well, I'm a guy, I'm not getting breast cancer. She goes, well, yeah, probably not, but it can cause pancreatic cancer, prostate cancer, melanoma, etc. Ovarian, which I'm obviously not getting. And then about 5 months later, I had experienced a little bit of a change in my left nipple. It was starting to indent. I thought it was because I was a little bit out of shape, a little bit overweight, and I ignored it. And it got a little sore, and then I was with a bunch of guys in Chicago for an old boys weekend. And one of the guys I hadn't seen gave me, we were very close, he gave me this big bear hug, and when he hugged me, I got like this feeling like a knife went from my left nipple to my left ear, just like somebody had shot me. And I knew something was up at that point, so when I got back, I had it checked, and you know, I went to my primary, and she went like 3 seconds around and said, I'm going to send you for a mammogram. I said, how can a guy get a mammogram? She said, you can. And this was a Friday afternoon, and by late on Friday afternoon, I had a mammogram, I had an ultrasound, they figured out that it was calcified, and scheduled me for a biopsy early the next week. But I knew at that point, because my sister had warned me, that I was carrying that, and now I started to do the investigation. So I knew I carried a mutation. I probably carried a mutation. I didn't know specifically at that time. I had been dealing with my prostate issues. I had been through a prostate biopsy, which came back negative initially. But that was the initial part of my symptoms. But right there, I knew even before I got the call, wrote in my book, "Sir, you have breast cancer," which is the title of my book, "Sir, you have breast cancer," because that was the first words I heard after my biopsy came back. I got a call and I answered the phone, and the doctor said, "Mr. Singer." I said, "Yes." She said, "Sir, you have breast cancer." So those words stuck with me, and I put it on the title of my book. And it was basically about trying to navigate the disease being a guy in a woman's world. And this was almost 15 years ago now. This October will be 15 years. So, it was very difficult because of the symptoms were there. I actually had to find a surgeon that had done men before. I didn't want just a general breast surgeon. I wanted somebody that had experience with men because it is a slightly different surgery. Same thing with oncology follow-up. But you had to navigate that. That's why I decided to do what my sister and I do, because we had to change it. I had to make it easier for the next guy. And between my sister and I, we have 5 boys. And we know that every one of those boys is 50-50 to carry. And we have no girls offspring. And we just said, the chances are 1 or 2 or more boys. Genetically driven because of we are BRCA2 mutation carriers, and we understand what goes with that. And we'll continue to do our breast cancer awareness work and our genetic mutation work and make people aware that BRCA mutations are 50-50 guys and women. It's not just a women's disease. Even though Angelina Jolie never spoke about it when she came out about her mutation, everybody in the world thought it was just a woman's genetic mutation. But half the people in the world that carry it are in fact men. That's kind of the backdraft of my story.
Do you feel, Harvey, since you were diagnosed, and Rod, things have changed in the world of how the world perceives male breast cancer? Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
It certainly has.
When I first went in for my for oncology checks, they would give you the form to fill out, and none of them were pertinent to a guy. It was all about answering questions. When was your last period? Do you have vaginal dryness? And I would push back, and the radiology office, I say, why can't you have a form that's for a guy? And that changed, and now there are forms. They go into a special drawer. Rob will probably confirm this when you go for his annual check. They pull out a form that's for guys, but you still get that look. I go into a very busy clinic here in Orange County, California. It's a women's breast center. And when I walk in, they're looking at me like, "Okay, are you here with your wife?" Or something like that. They hardly ever think it's you. So we still have a ways to go, but yeah, it's definitely changed. It's become more accepted. It's there's more people know, but there's still so much work to do. So much work to do.
How about you, Rod? Oh.
Rod, you're muted out.
Rod, we can't hear you. Uh-oh. Now we can. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll just finish my diagnosis story. So it took a few months to get my primary physician to refer me. So she said, "Okay, go along for an ultrasound." And like with Harvey, you get an idea. In my case, it was the technician's eyes were popping out of her head, and I thought, "Oh, this doesn't look good." And sure enough, a day later, a biopsy and a diagnosis. But after that, everything went very smoothly. I got no complaints about anything. And I think I was fortunate living in a sort of semi-rural area to get such high quality care. And it was amazing. It's not as expensive here as in the States, but it's equal quality, I can assure you. And so like Harvey, I thought, okay, here's a reason. I've got a lot of media skills. I can use them. I quickly got a job writing for a US company, writing about breast cancer in men. Practically every charity has hooked up and interviewed me or podcasted me or whatever. And I'm very active on social media, Twitter particularly, which is now X, which is a dumb idea, but anyway.
I think so.
I'm on X. What I say is I tweet on X. so go figure that out.
Hey, Rod, how did you find out that you had breast cancer?
Well, through a biopsy. Oh, how did I find out? Well, there was a lump there, and I kept feeling this lump, and as I said, it took a while to get a referral, but it happened, and it wasn't too late. But unfortunately for a lot of men, if they do ignore it, the prognosis isn't as good if their diagnosis is later. And this is in the research. And really, you do need people you do need people like Harvey and I out there sort of, blowing the trumpet every so often and getting the pink charities to do a bit more. It's really not good enough. I know we're sort of an inconvenient truth. We're not going to rake in a lot of dollars. Look at Harvey and I. We look like brothers, and nobody's going to probably give 100,000 to a charity if they see, oh, there's a couple of old guys there. They particularly promoted it. It's young women that get it. It's like yourself, Cynthia, young women that get it. It's not really, the average age for a woman is 55. The average age for a man is around about 65.
Interesting. Okay, I did not know that. So typically an older man gets breast cancer. Now I met somebody at West Elm while I was shopping for my home. I try not to always talk about what I do, but it's hard. And she looked at me in tears. Her 35-year-old son has breast cancer. Wow. So it's a rarity. I do want to say that I saw that Dr. Yara Robertson, one of my medical advisors, who is behind the page that we did together on the website, has joined, and just want to thank her if she's listening for being incredibly supportive of this mission overall, and specifically for male breast cancer. She's also done a page on the website on what to know before surgery, which is very powerful. Oh, I wish I had all this information before my surgery. So we want to thank her for her efforts behind this page. Every page on the website is vetted by one of my medical advisors, and I think this page is so important because and I had a lot of Rod's guidance to make sure that I was making this page welcoming on a very feminine website, because I do want to make sure that, sorry guys, it's a pretty kind of too colorful, but to make sure that it resonates. And Rod shared with me that, and I think Harvey as well, that you feel that it is welcoming to a gentleman that might need us. And I do want to touch, Rod, you have made so many women friends because of this. I mean, let's talk about it.
Yeah, okay, I think I told you I might be an honorary woman, but that was a joke. But I really feel the support of other people with breast cancer, and it's mostly women. Let's just drop that pretense for a while. It's mostly women, and they're just amazing. And I know Harvey, will feel the same, not just with the sister, but all our women friends, I'm sure, are the same. They're just very supportive, and we're sort of, I think we're trying to be role models for men with breast cancer, but we hear so many stories, and I'm following some, especially younger women with triple negative and quite serious diagnoses that have run out on their line of treatments, and it's heartbreaking. They've got young kids.
Oh,
and,
so many.
It's a really, really sad situation, and so we're in there just trying to help all people. I hope Harvey feels the same way. He knows it's a genderless disease, and we're all in it together, and we're just trying to get some of those charities to put a bit more work into awareness. I mean, it's 100% awareness for women, but when it comes to men, some of the studies show maybe 40 or 45%. That means half the population doesn't even know men can get it, and therefore they get diagnosed later. And as I said before, the prognosis is not as good.
Right. And that's really helpful for me as I continue to promote this page. And Dr. Robertson just put a note in there saying that it's very important for providers to make sure that men are aware of the fact that this can happen. I mean, it is an aha moment for many people. Oh, that can happen. And we said earlier, if you have breast tissue, you can get breast cancer. And I do like what you said. I mean, because the awareness it's ongoing, as we all know. It is not just 1 month. It is forevermore, every day. And I do want to touch on the fact that Harvey has a sister. Not only did she have breast cancer, but she had breast cancer 4 times. I am going to be interviewing her. We spoke. And with that history of breast cancer in the family, do you guys think that, Harvey, if you didn't know about, the gene and all of that, would you recommend that men seeing that in the family, if the mother and the sister and the grandmother, to kind of look at the son or the father or whatever, or, cousins, and say, this could be in the family? What do you think?
Well, the genetic side of it's very complex. We all know now about BRCA1 and BRCA2 mutations. BRCA1 was first. I read a very interesting book at the very start of the pandemic called The Gene, which I recommend highly. It's written by Siddhartha Mukherjee, who wrote Cancer, Cancer or something, Emperor of All Diseases. It was very difficult to read. It was like a clinician's book. But yeah, I have to go back and reread it. But it gave me a lot more insight. Look, we know about all these mutations, and every day we're discovering more mutations. I think there's probably hundreds of thousands of them that we don't know yet, and we're still discovering. People, it can be two things. It can be genetic or it could be environmental, right? Ground Zero had a lot of breast cancer after Ground Zero. We know that for the most case, was environmentally driven. But to know your family history helps start the conversation. It helps you be aware. I have two boys. They're 40 and 38 years old. They're both pretty intelligent guys with very good jobs and smart. One couldn't get tested fast enough after my diagnosis. The other one couldn't put it off long enough. And he just kept saying, I don't want to know because I just want to live my life. I don't want to live my life in fear. But it's not about fear. It's about having the knowledge to screen the proper way, to know what your risks are and screen for them. Rod and I know our risks, so we screen. I screen twice a year for melanoma. I'm at my dermatology office twice a year. I screen once a year for EUS for pancreatic. I know my risks, so I screen for it. I mean, it's not easy. You go for screenings, you go for blood work. Every time, Rod, we both had prostate cancer, we're supposed to have a PSA of 0. Every time you go for blood work, you sit there and sweat till the numbers come back. I always call that scanxiety.
Yeah.
We have to go through it. We deal with it. It's part of our lives. And you can put it in the back of your mind all you want, but it's there, and you have to be able to do it and handle it. But if you know your history, you screen better, whether it's a documented mutation or it's just a family history where there's something else hiding that we haven't discovered yet. 25 years ago, nobody knew about a BRCA2 gene. It's fairly new. So, you have to know that. And if you have a family history there, you screen for it. You just know what to look for. If there's a family history of pancreatic, I have a close friend who has a family history of pancreatic. He screens diligently twice a year. He has tested negative for mutation, but he's still screening twice a year for pancreatic cancer because he knows there's a history there and knows there's something that might be missed. So I think it's hugely important. The genetic side of it's very complex. Thank God for people like at the Vassar Center for BRCA Research in Philadelphia that our foundation works closely with. They're just on the cutting edge of all this stuff, but there's so many organizations around the world that are doing this, trying to find more and more examples of mutations and more ways that we can prevent the cancer. Hopefully in the next 10 years, we'll have a vaccine for BRCA. We already have treatments that are very specific, PARP inhibitors towards BRCA cancers. They work differently than everything else, and they're only effective on BRCA2 cancers, BRCA1 cancers. So we're getting better, but the genetics plays a huge role in it. And it's kind of why we pivoted a little bit to make sure we're inclusive in our foundation of not just the male breast cancer awareness part, but the genetics part of it as well.
Yeah, I'll just add my hereditary story. My mum died young from breast cancer, age 40. So, I wasn't really looking for it, but I got it. But now Harvey talks about Harvey talks about his two sons. I'll say my two kids, a 50-year-old daughter and a 45-year-old son. The daughter gets automatically put into a screening program because I have a BRCA1 VUS, which is a variation of unknown significance. It's not clinically actable, but we're all aware. So my daughter gets this screening annually, MRIs, not just mammograms. And my son, he's out there, do what you want, mate. It's nothing to do with us. You're not on the list. So while there's reluctance amongst kids to get it, there's barriers for younger men to get themselves tested, and Harvey knows that.
Yeah. I mean, I think overall, even just women in general, women have barriers. I mean, who even thinks I didn't get genetic tested until after I got diagnosed, and I have a high propensity to get the BRCA gene. So, as we work together and every day, I just think the lack of knowledge out there in a way that brings us together, that wakes us up a little bit, is just missing, I believe, especially for you guys.
It's difficult for men because men in general don't like to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
They don't like bad news. Macho. Nothing's why it's there because I did something else. There's always an excuse. Right. So that's a large barrier trying to break down there. Just the fact that, and no guy wants to be told he has breast cancer because it's emasculating. I remember after I was diagnosed and I would go play golf, my friends would kiddingly go, "You want to play from the red tees now? Because you're like a woman, you get that,
Yes, right.
that kind of riveting."
Yeah.
It didn't bother me, quite honestly. I don't really care, but I just do what I have to do. But men are they don't want to go to a doctor. They don't want to find bad news. They push it away. I know that's being sexist, but that's factual.
Oh,
No, it's true. It's a fact. It's a fact. Harvey's right.
And that's why what you two are doing is and Sherry, I want to keep calling Sherry out, so very important. And I just, again, applaud both of you for, and I think we all are in the same club. We kind of got a bug when this happened to us and said, no, we're going to do something about it. And we're going to make it easier on the next person because it needs to be done. I mean, there's just such a gap in trying to grab that person's hand. And you do feel very lost, uneducated. And, you men aren't good at showing your emotions either, from what I gather. So to be able to say, hey, the word in and of itself, knowing that you've been diagnosed with a cancer is hard on any human. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So what would you like to say to anyone who's listening, whether it be a man or a woman, that with all that you all both have been through? I'd love to hear your thoughts. What kind of words of wisdom and just part of your mission would you like to say? Let's go with you, Rod, first.
Okay. I got to go here, Harvey. Okay. In 1 minute flat, I just say, be aware of your health generally, and any family history, any inkling that you've got a lump in your breast, anything at all, get it checked out. It's not a big deal, especially now because people have paved the way. Clinicians are much more aware. They don't put you off. They just send you for scanning, and basically get yourself checked, and there's good care out there, and hopefully everything's going to be all right. That's my positive ending. Sorry, you're now, Harvey.
I'll take it from where you started. I agree with everything you just said. I'll take it from the next step. Once you're diagnosed, one of the things I tell people that contact us through the foundation, or just friends in general that might have a different cancer, I said, this is now the most important job you'll ever have. And people tend to rely on their doctor because they said, okay, I have cancer, I'm spinning out of control, I don't know what to do next, I'm just going to rely on my doctor. And there's great doctors out there, but there's also some doctors that aren't as great. And my advice to these people is, just make this your mission. This is your life. So a doctor's going to do the best they can for you, but if they make a mistake and you die, they go to the next patient. You get one shot. So make sure you understand everything about your disease, every aspect. Read, everything's out there. The world is an open book right now on the internet. You can find anything you want to find out. You can find anything about any doctor that's in your care. You can find out about them. You can research everything in the world. Make this the most important job you'll ever do, to make sure that you are making the decisions based on your care. I had just a quick, when I had my surgery and my pathology came back, there was indecision whether I was HER2 positive, HER2 negative, HER2 indifferent, whether I needed chemo, whether I didn't need chemo. I started seeking second and third and fourth opinions. I actually saw 4 oncologists and had 3 different regimens for chemo. So nobody's on the same book, and you have to make those decisions on your own. If you don't, you're just going to rely on one person's decision, and that might not be the right decision for you. So, I finally pushed back at my attending oncologist, and I said, look, this is what's going on. She took my case to a tumor board at the University of Rochester at the time. She came back, she said, half of my oncology people agree with you, half agree with me on your care. It's your decision. And I actually made a decision to have a different combination of chemo than she was recommending at the time. I'm 15 years later. I don't know that I made the right decision. I guess I'll never know, but I made the decision based on the facts that I could obtain. Post that, I think you need support. His breast cancer awareness started a new Facebook support group. We have a lot of members signing up. It's interactive. Everybody can speak. Everybody can tell what their story is. They can come in a forum where it's protected. You get open help. We haven't had this before. We just put it up about 8 months ago or so. It's been very well received, where I jump on and interact where I can as the admin and as a moderator. I don't like to take over the site, so I kind of stay in the dark unless somebody specifically asks questions about it, or I can put something in that makes sense. Because I want these people to be able to interact with themselves. I don't want to be just their advisor, their teacher.
Yeah,
And,
sure.
I know more than them. That doesn't matter. God knows, as much as I know. You learn as you go. But you have to be. That's how you get involved with your own care. That's how you take control and become your own advocate. So those are the two words. I'll take it from her. Yes, you have to be alert to find out, but once you're diagnosed, your job's just beginning.
Yeah, that's right.
Just, become a patient. You have to be part of the process. That's my biggest advice to the people.
That is one of the reasons.
Yeah, and knowledge is power. So summing up from Harvey and I, I'd say knowledge is power. Advocate for yourself. Take responsibility for your disease and get yourself better as soon as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I do want to touch on is you mentioned that there are certain doctors that are, Harvey, that are treating male breast cancer. Are they known for this? Is that,
I don't know of any oncology that specializes only in male breast cancer because I don't think they'd have enough of a practice, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Cases in a specific area. I just would, I recommend doctors that have dealt with male breast cancer males. That's what I look for in an oncologist when I was trying to decide on an oncologist. But there's so many out there, and you can get second and third opinions and fourth opinions.
Right.
You can't just. But honestly, most people don't. Most people just take the advice because the doctor's smarter than me. I don't know anything.
That's what I did.
Well,
I did that.
And I'm not going to say that you're stupid. That's the norm. I couldn't do that. I had to take charge of my own care. I had to know what was going on, and it's hard. Believe me, it is so difficult to make a decision that's life and death that you're making that you don't feel you're accomplished enough to make that decision. But I make those decisions every day. And I tell people all the time, you get involved with one doctor, maybe it's not going the right way. You can fire your doctor. You would fire your mechanic. You'd fire your plumber if they weren't doing a good job. But the people are afraid to tell their doctor that they're going to go to a different doctor. They're scared to death to do that. There's no realistic reason why.
So Harvey, I want to touch on that. This is a really great conversation because a lot of my Learn, Look, Locate advisors say that. They do say, find the team that's right for you. But I look back even from my own personal journey, I was so scared. I just was like, whatever. But I will tell you, and this is a good conversation in the sense that my tumor was in the left side, and I was only going to get the left one off. And someone said to me, when you start yapping up at what happened, they're like, get them both off. You don't want to deal with this again. So this is actually kind of funny. I called my cancer center. I said, can you sign, can I get the right one off? And it was like, can I have fries with my burger? It was like, yeah, she wants a double. So I go and get the right one off. And I just did a post on this, I had atypical hyperplasia in the other breast. And so I would have gotten, most likely, breast cancer again. And the surgeon looked at me and said, good call. And I'm just, it's just a lot. It's a lot, so.
I had a guy, I was presented the same option, actually, pre-surgery. Do you want to have a double mastectomy? And I heard the do's and don'ts. And I was still spinning. Look, I was 2 weeks from being diagnosed. I was ready to go, and I decided not to. Retrospectively, I probably should have, but I didn't at the time, and I've lived that way where I still have my right breast. I screen, twice a year, MRI, mammogram, I do screen heavily for it. The odds are that I won't get breast cancer in my right breast too, but the odds were only 69% I was going to get breast cancer in my left breast. So I don't believe in odds. I don't think odds play the whole role.
How about you, Rod?
I screen once a year, get screened once a year for both.
Did you get a double?
No, sorry, I had a single, but all the lymph nodes were involved, so they took all the lymph nodes, I think that was the best practice at the time. Now they say, oh, no, have a lumpectomy, do a sentinel node biopsy, etc., etc. Well, look, quite honestly, I was quite happy just to get rid of that. And if they'd have said, we'll take that breast too, I probably said, yeah, I'll have fries with that as well, thanks.
Did they talk to you guys about lymphedema, both of you?
Well, they did me, yeah. They said Oh, I spoke to them. I said, I'm worried about lymphedema because I knew a guy that had lymphedema, and it's not a pretty look. Your arm looks like it's twice as big or more. You don't want that. And the surgeon just said quite nicely, said, you won't get lymphedema. And I thought, gosh, is that a guarantee? Well, it turned out to be true. What about you and lymphedema, Harvey?
No, I was sentinel. I was node negative. I was sentinel node negative, so I only had the sentinel node. So I never had an issue with other.
Okay, no risk.
So I
No
didn't have
risk.
any issue with lymphedema,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But look, I didn't think I needed. My surgeons, when I came out, said to me, "You're good. There's no extenuating disease. There's no disease in your lymph nodes. You'll take a pill a day, which was tamoxifen at the time, and you'll be good." And then pathology came back, but BRCA2 driven cancers are much more aggressive than a lot of other cancers. So that's when everything came back and said, your oncotype score is high, there's this, there's that, we should do prophylactic chemotherapy. Believe me, I had no intention of getting chemotherapy, and that's why I started looking when I was recommended to other oncologists to see if I could find opinion. I found four oncologists all said I needed some sort of prophylactic chemotherapy, but what they differed was the exact treatment of it. So,
wow. We do have some comments. We might have some questions. I just want to open it up before I let everyone go here. So Mandy writes, makes sense to remove the breast. You can get rid of all the breast tissue, and it likes to go to the bone, lung, liver, and brain. Mine came back on the mastectomy side and in the lymph node. Oh, Mandy, thank you for sharing. I'm sorry to hear this. And it does make sense. It's a hard decision, though. It is very, very hard. Thank you so much for sharing, Mandy. I do want everyone to know that both Rod and Harvey and Male Global Breast Cancer Alliance are, putting their information here. I'm not sure if everyone can see all of this, just so you know that they're available. And Sherry is saying, making sure any history of cancer on your mother or father's side should be a red flag. My dad had colon cancer, so and I was never genetic tested, so that's just pretty sad. We have brought quite a few of the pink charities around to understand they need a page for men. Yes, more work to be done here. Let's see. And inverted nipple is one that is very common for men, and they don't know to act on it. Wow. Now, how do I do a post on that, you guys?
I had one of those, so that's what, and I ignored it for a little while too. But that's it. That is a telltale sign, because I'm not sure exactly the biology behind it. Maybe Dr. Robertson can help us, but
yeah.
But I think that the tumor draws the blood, and that's why it draws the nipple. And I don't want to speak out of turn, because I'm not
okay.
But,
yeah.
But I know that is a telltale sign. Obviously any excrement, anything bleeding or pouring from your nipple is a telltale sign. Any soreness, but most guys the cancer will form around the nipple. There's just not enough breast tissue to not involve the nipple. So
right.
That's why it's such an important, to keep track of yourself. Look in the mirror. It looks different. One side looks different than the other.
Take a look, right?
Yeah,
and I guess
inverted nipple as well as another red flag. So inverted nipples, lumps, as Harvey says, blood, they're all red flags.
And small, very, Phil in England, I don't know if he's listening, but he had a very small, that can be very, very small. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. You're both extremely busy, and just by being a part of this page, helping me to encompass all aspects of breast cancer is a part of my global mission. So I'm beyond honored to be working with all of you. Thank you both. Thank you, Sherry. This is not the end. I want to work with you guys as much as possible. Any articles that come out, please share with me so that I can get this information out. Anything that you feel is relevant. I think you guys have a big challenge. Men don't go to the doctor. Men don't think it can happen to them. The stereotype of being part of a woman's disease. This is hard stuff. Emotionally, and even taking the time to really think it can happen. So I think what you guys are doing it's just incredible. So
and
it's an honor
for you, because you've built a nice following. When you put out the invite for us, we were so happy to work with you. So
and happy
you asked for, we'd be happy to work with you.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
Happy to work with you, Cynthia. Cynthia, your work is incredible. Your graphics and just sense of getting straight to the point, I think, is just what this business needs. So thank you again for your help.
Oh, thank you. I mean, just so you guys know, I'm the one behind it all. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
I'm doing it all. I'm trying to have a life on top of it. But you know what? The best part, guys, is I get to meet like amazing people. And so through this very horrible disease that we've all been facing or dealt with, just the souls that come into our lives, isn't it really special?
It is. It's very special. And people say, you know, people, you can bury your head in sand. Why me? Why did I get this horrible disease?
Yeah.
And I say a lot of times, maybe because I was going to be one of the people to do something about it. So maybe I was chosen for that.
Yes, I think. Yeah, we all were.
Just keep working.
Well, listen, guys, this will be on my Reels grid. It's going to be on my YouTube channel. It's going to be on TikTok. We're going to take this and put it into small 1-minute bites to get people to listen. So thank you so much. We're going to create a lot of awareness. Happy birthday, Harvey. Go celebrate.
Yeah, happy birthday, Harvey. Yep.